Hello and welcome back to this Rule the Waves 3 Germany 1890 playthrough. I lost track of the number of episodes, but we are getting close to 20 and we are only in May of 1903. In each episode is about an hour long, give or take, so this has gotten more extensive than I had intended, and for any future playthroughs I think I either have to play faster or I have to sort of edit it down to show the most interesting battles and the most interesting ship designs and sort of summarize more. I'm not sure if anyone has the patience to actually watch through what will probably 100 hours of gameplay before we're done. Anyway, welcome back. Coffee in the pot. I realized I was a bit tired yesterday when I was playing, so that could have influenced some of my perceptions and actions. I mean, that Nelson maneuver was effective and it was not completely insane because I was more heavily armored, moving slightly faster. There was a gap in the line. Destroyers were few, poorly armed, easy to repel, and so forth. So that is something that is not so, you cannot really do that in 1920 and expect to have the same kind of success. But I was a bit grumpy and a bit whiny, and when all my cruisers were independent and refused to stay in from information and had to either be micromanaged or allowed to sort of just go in the opposite direction of the convoy, then I maybe lost patience just a tiny bit there. Anyway, we have been at war with France. It's our second war with France and the third war overall, which we can see here in the history. We had this first war with Russia early, maybe too early, started in 1893. Then we had this war with France that started in 1897. Also came a few years before I was entirely prepared for it. I'm not sure why no battles are listed. There were very few battles that I got any prestige from in this war. Remember, the sort of inconclusive cruiser actions. One or two cruisers sunk, and it absolutely refused to give me any prestige. Very unfair. Fleet tonnage, okay. Yeah, but now we are in another even bigger war with France, and it's been going better the last part, these past few months. In the beginning, there were sort of inconclusive engagement. The French ran away a lot, cruiser actions. It was dark most of the time. Some of the battles were ended before any contact were made, and the transports I was supposed to sink were on the French coast, hundreds of nautical miles away, and so forth. But I slowly built up my force and kept chipping at the French. But they actually managed to rack up more victory points than me, not through victories, but through blockade and trade warfare and me not being present in certain sea zones and so forth. Hard when I'm blockaded. But that's how these wars play out. And I think that is one of the strengths of the campaign system, or should I say the strategy layer, that it's not just all out major fleet battles that decide everything in the first month of war. Yes, inside my heart, I really want the big fleets to clash together, and I want to sink all his ships and lose maybe one destroyer, but that would make actually for a very bad game in the long run. So this is actually good. And there were some interesting battle in that early period as well. The one where I had to well, that was not early, that was relatively late. But in one battle, I lost 3 destroyers to mines. That was kind of rude. I have had ships strike mines in previous games, but nothing of this magnitude. But I suppose the channel is very narrow, so Sean was nice now running the gauntlet of the channel, very risky, lots of mines. But now I'm talking. Fleet tonnage, you can see my tonnage is slowly creeping up here. Russia has a France has a steep drop here. Sorry, I'm confusing France. And I think that's has to do with my gradual sinking of their fleet. Even if you just get a few cruisers, that's 10, 15, 20,000 tons. So anyway, the US joined the war. That was, I hadn't really paid attention to relations, so that was somewhat surprising. But like I said, everyone hates France. Tensions have gone down ever so slightly with Austria and 1 point or 2 with Japan, but they are at war with me and the US. And Russia could, I suppose, join at any time because they are also relatively friendly with me and the US. So, and if you look at the almanac, France is, no, let's look at all first. You can see that France's cruiser fleet is completely devastated. They have a bunch of cruisers building, but they only have 6 cruisers to the name, or at least our intel tells us that. And it's even worse with light cruisers. The light cruiser force is completely decimated. And we have seen just began touching upon it, but we had at least one instance of France declining something involving cruisers. Maybe more, but like I said, that was yesterday, and I was pretty tired and probably should have been relaxing rather than playing. But you know, when you just have to push one more turn and one more battle and one more tech. That's a good indication that this is a good game. So we can quickly click over to France here, and they are building a bunch of cruisers, and they have finally realized that they need to up their cruiser game. 11,000 tons. Mine are 12 to 15,000, but that's in the same ballpark. They can armor them more heavily and hopefully also have a decent both primary and secondary armament, so that when they are completed, that could be could in theory be a game changer. But you can see the AI also needs time to build ships. This is 3 coming out this year, and a couple the year after, and a couple the year after. And these are 11,500 tons. But I can sink 3 cruisers in a year, so this is not going to dramatically shift the situation. And it's the same with the light cruiser. But they continue to insist on building Sfax. I'm not sure what this is, but it is 3,400 tons. I mean, there's light cruisers and then there's extremely light cruisers. I'm not sure what the cap on light cruisers is, but I have been building 8,500 ton cruisers, so it's more than 8,000 ton. It's not 10,000 because that comes later, so maybe 8.5 is cap. I'm not entirely sure, but the AI should be, it's clearly reacting to my cruiser builds, but the light cruisers continue to remain ineffectual. And also they just run away and never really engage, so it's kind of pointless. These Souchettes, I mean, if they had an updated 12,000 version of that with a couple of 8 or a quad of 7s and a bunch of 6-inch secondaries and some torpedoes, and they actually armor them at least 3 inches and use them in the battle, then they could do well. Battleships, I am completely behind still, but if you remember from the previous battle, the convoy attack battle, which is kind of odd. I can really see battleships escorting convoys and attacking them. I mean, this is historical, but every time I have a big fleet battle, it feels like it's a convoy attack or defense, where suddenly there are 10 to 15 battleships, or 20 in France's case, something like that. And this feels to me kind of weird, but the battleship engagement are smaller and less conclusive. But it could be just randomness that made this happen. But you could see my lead squadron of battleships, they were running alongside the French line. It was a proper line of battle. And they got pummeled, and I took one of my lead ships, took over 30 medium hits, and still was fine. So one of my battle squadrons can basically run alongside the entire battle line of the French and not immediately sink. And that is because the French battleships, they are well armored, but they are slow, so I'm able to engage them. They can't really run away, but their guns leave something to be desired. I mean, 2 and 3 main guns, not very impressive. They have some 4-gun ships coming out now that also have a decent, if you look at the turrets, this is not bad. This is 18 knots, and it's gonna be heavily armored, 10-inch belt. This is a decent ship, but in this pre-dreadnought era, I think more firepower has to come from the secondary battery, because you need volume of fire. Fire control is horrendous still. It's slowly creeping up. We have these central firing positions and a few range finders. So the tech penalty is reduced somewhat, and you can have fire control stations on your capital ships. But it's still not very good, and ranges are very, very short. So that's why my cruisers have a lot of 7, now 8-inch guns, and lots of 5 and 6-inch guns in their secondary battery, and why I build my battleships with 8-inch secondaries. I mean, these 12-inch guns, yeah, they hit fairly hard once they hit, but they hit very rarely. So it's the 8-inch guns that do the job. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to a side here. That's where my primary firepower comes from. And it also has 14 6-inch guns, so it can put out a mass of fire. These are a little different because they don't have a 6-inch tertiary battery. They have these 3-inch guns, but they are very effective against destroyers at this stage, I feel. So again, a lot of talk and no play, but it's important to stop up sometimes and have a little talk. Otherwise, I could just not be recording this. So, sunk ships. I haven't lost a whole lot of ships. I have scrapped quite a few ships. If you remember, these Hertas, they were slow to begin with, and then I bulged them. And they never really got into battle. It only lists 3 of my old battleships, because the last 5,300 ton battleship, someone bought it. Was it Austria-Hungary or was it Spain? I don't remember. The biggest ship I've lost is this Donner class called Blitzen. Donner and Blitzen. It burned down, basically. It caught fire from some damage to the superstructure, I suppose. I didn't check too closely. And the same thing happened with the lead ship of the Harja class. It also caught fire and burned down. And these were popped early, these 300 tonners. They are 1 medium battery hit and they are gone. these 500 tonners, they require more to put down, but they are still destroyers, and 3 of them hit mines in one battle, and the rest have gone down, either making attack runs on capital ships or dueling with French destroyers. But I think this is very light losses. If you look at France, their loss list is quite extensive. So I don't have a whole lot of positive modifiers here, and my fleet is it's fine. I'm missing a single Wotan here, but that is under construction. And I also started Wotan 3. It's 1 knot faster, and otherwise quite similar. I also started this is a replacement for the lost burnt out cruiser. This I started for reasons. I'm not sure how many more of these pre-dreadnought around 1900 ship I want, but I cannot stop building. I could take losses, and you can see I am easily blockaded. Anyway, I think it's time to press the turn button. Enough talk, more fight. So, I get a convoy defense battle in the middle of the North Sea. That's pretty close to my own bases. Remember, I took over Norway with a coup. I guess we are related. We have a related language, and it's kind of Germanic-ish, all of us. So we're one big happy family, all heeding the wishes of the Kaiser, even though we can be a bit bombastic sometimes. So this could easily become another battleship battle. I have more battleships, but I have better battleships. I am proof positive after that flash. So let's see. Yes, and again, it's a convoy battle that doesn't involve just a few battleships. Admiral Gott files command check, and no force changes possible. Okay, but I have 2 squadrons. I have 7 of my modern battleships. I have a cruiser division with 2 cruisers. That's scouting for battle cruiser division 1. Where is battle cruiser? The BX, not battle cruiser. It's scouting for the Hochseeflotte. We have 2 light cruiser divisions, 1 good and 1 consisting of the reserve, but still there are 4 upgunned 5,400 tonners. These are better than most of what the French have. We have some torpedo 500-ton destroyers, and then the US sends 3 battleships, and they're starting to be quite a bit bigger. I'll try not to lose any US battleships this time, but to my defense, that convoy raid was a tiny battleship, a tiny, very slow battleship. Okay, this is also tiny and slow. And I sent some destroyers. Here I have more cruisers. This one is independent. Yeah, we remember what happened. I will have to keep this under manual control. This is screening. Can it screen? Yeah, maybe. Lots and lots of destroyers. And I'm guessing, and some short-range destroyers. I'm guessing some of them won't appear in the battle as usual, but most should appear. It's basically, yeah. Again, this is, I think, kind of weird, because how far from Helgoland is this? It's 143 nautical miles. That's basically a stone throw, even for a short-range destroyer. If your ships cannot go even that distance, then why build them in the first place? So unknown ship sighted. Wow, that was immediate. Let's save this. Save, and we can look at the dusk will be in 10 hours 10 minutes, 610 minutes, and scenario will only last for 600 minutes. So yeah. So basically the game says that some of the destroyers couldn't go from here under, or maybe Helgoland, and out short distance into the North Sea. Okay, it's clear, it's a dead calm, it's good visibility. The wind is blowing mostly from west to east, slightly from north to south. You can see the arrow here. Defend the convoy. Let's see if we can find the convoy. It's better to just click here. Okay, we start on top of the convoy. Okay, so then we know where it's going, and it's heading north, isn't it? Or is it heading south? I can never tell before the ships start to move. Okay, they have the front pointing north, so they are going north. They are going to Norway, yeah. They are going to Trondheim with bratwurst and sauerkraut, I am quite sure. Okay, so let's identify our independents. So this one is going at a nice 12 knot speed, and squad max -2 is 13, so it could just stay there. We have Lottringen, and we have these guys, so we have 7 our good battleships. How bad are these? 2 12-inch, some 6-inch, well armored, slow, but no, it's not horrible. It's just yeah, those are 8 7-inch. That's not so, but yeah, okay, yeah, they can fight, and they have some destroyers. We have Valkyrie here. They are screening, but that will basically just burn out their engines. So let's put them on support instead. They are just 2 knots faster than my battle line, and if I start turning, things will just be very problematic very quickly. This is AI control, okay, because I have 2 destroyers from the destroyer reserve. Okay, let's look at my front line fighters here. We have these on independent, line ahead. So okay, so we have 2 heavy cruisers coming here. Do we have any more cruisers that are likely to They are on a scout line, but I don't think that is they will support my Scharnhorst. Where are you? It will support Scharnhorst. Line ahead. There is another cruiser. I was looking for you, my friend. And you are scouting, that is fine, but we have I think we will actually make him independent as well. Then we will put this on support for Donner. This way each heavy cruiser squadron that I will control individually will... Oh my god, I have yet another one here. It's on scout. I will make it independent. Mission on horse support, okay. Support Drachen, no. Support Blücher, I think, instead. Because the main force here is it's going to be very okay. This is destroyers support line ahead, but they are deployed. Huh. Who are they supporting? Ah, they're supporting the light cruisers. What about the Nürnberg? Support Donner? Okay, yeah. So in a few minutes things should resolve. This one, it can be core. And this one is okay, it can be independent, that's not a problem. Let's just run, take up the speed and run for 5 minutes and see if things start to come together. This will go up to 14, but will actually go straight west. Will also go to 14, more or less straight west. This will also go to 14 and go more or less straight west. And do I have any ships or groups not behaving? No. Let's just run them. They're going up there, so let's change things up. Don't want to go too fast. Light cruisers, destroyers, battleship, US destroyers. And these, what are these doing? Supporting Draken, supporting Lothringen, supporting Draken. Okay, yeah, that's a good setup. Let's run for 2 more minutes, and 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes. Okay. So we have one of these heavy cruisers. It's not horribly armored, but it's not horribly armed because it can actually put 5 and 8 inches and like 7, 5 inches. It's not up there. And its armor is slightly weaker. Can't rush this in speed because then it will not get back into formation. Okay, here comes someone. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. We are far outside the firing range still. We have some battleships. So let's cut these guys up here and go to -2. Are these starting to come together? Yeah. Have them. I think we'll let them just hang out in the general area here. Ships. Keep an eye on what happens up here. Are we seeing splashes? Conde is opening fire on Scharnhorst. That doesn't have range yet. Yeah, because he has 8-inch guns. Oh, that makes sense. I think we will send Blücher to intercept his Conde class. not sure what to do with these American battleships. Have them follow my battle line. Oh, the convoy is going the other direction. And Blücher will keep heading for that other cruiser. And it's also going down, so let's bring it down here. Let's bring it to the west, slow it down. Let's bring the speed on the battleships up to 14. The Americans will just have to live with that. Dresden is ever so slowly catching up here. Where are my destroyers out of line? So is Blücher firing? No, the distance is too big still. Let's make the cruisers tangle with the cruisers. This enemy battle line is turning away. Okay. Let's go after them. Let's have these cruisers just go parallel here. And it's time to start the hunt. I will go to -2 here as well, but sort of swing it down so Dresden can catch up. These will have to go to squad -2 as well, because these are doing probably maximum speed. Where are you going, little friend? Just confused? Yeah, as usual, I have to drive my ships pretty hard just to catch up with the enemy. I'm not going to go all in because I will eventually, I think, catch up with these battleships. Also, I noticed that I hadn't given my battleships reliable engine. That was always the intention, and for a while I was absolutely sure they had reliable engines. So that was quite a surprise when I discovered they had normal engines. When I had been talking about how my reliable engines were allowing me to catch up with the enemy. Are they turning or are they just running? Running. Blücher either needs to catch up or he needs to pull back to avoid being in range while the enemy is not within range. Run for some minutes. So a single destroyer comes out to play now. Just confused. Let's go to max and max, and I suppose max. Or I can just send them back after the convoy because they are never going to catch up. The range is so great that they are shooting at Blücher, but they are not hitting. But still, only their main guns can reach that far. So now we are outside of range. And I'll be back in a flash. Yeah, let's keep going. Not seeing any more splashes, so they are outside of range. But now we are just barely coming into range here. I'm just sending these Americans back. They are not going to contribute anything. That's a very small fleet compared to mine. I hope he doesn't have a second squadron out there that will suddenly appear and sink my entire convoy. That's just 3 battleships. 3 very, very slow battleships. Are these like 1891, 15 knots? Oh my god. This is it's pretty harsh. Let's take the speed down before I burn out my engines. Be happy just nailing those. This one will soon get a better firing angle and start doing some real damage. Yeah, we can see the broadside, but the rear gun isn't engaging yet. Slow is this now? 15 knots. A report is this? 2 destroyers course northeast at 12:25. Not like that. Yeah, this one is dead already or dying. See if they can put some torpedoes in it. Let's go to max again. That's 2 battleships in the bag. We're approximately armor Where is approximately my convoy now? Here. I don't know. Not important at the moment. How fast is this Lily? 17 knots. It's not super fast. Not when I'm going 18. Or actually 17 now that engines are starting to tire a bit. Taking just a few hits. Nothing important. 1-4 aft. Belt upper. Oh! Something stopped by belt upper. Yeah, my belt upper has been vindicated. Yes. That's why the belt upper is there, to stop superstructure hits. Some of them anyway. From like 4, 5, 6-inch guns. So that's cool. There will be a time where I think I will not build ships with belt upper, but for the time being, I think it's really useful. It doesn't weigh that much, so it's just a little bit extra protection. And you're in the box. 5x5. What's up with this guy? They appear to be panicking or something. Let's run 2 minutes. I'm detaching Donner and its squadron to go after this fellow here. Oh. Let's click. My 7 battleships will go after this guy, and Scharnhorst will go after this guy, and Blücher will hunt down this guy. Run for a few minutes. sorry, little destroyers, but you know that can't be helped. Wind direction and smoke is acceptable. Yeah, this one is dead. So is this Conde? Why did the Frauenlobs go to line a turn together? Weird. Now that flotillas are just tail chasing stuff and getting themselves shot up, so let's call that off. Yeah, it's dead in the water. We can just that chase. What are you doing, crazy Frenchman? Slow it down. Slow it down. At the convoy. Yeah. In my previous games, the French have mostly valued speed. Is that a living? Oh, it's a destroyer, of course. Damaged. Sure why they aren't going home, but Speed 5. Support. He gets confused. Sorry. Yeah, the scenario is almost over. Nice. And for some reason the convoy is turning south. Not okay. Yeah, they sent a very small fleet to raid my my convoy. 3 battleships against 10. That's just rude. If I was the French and the player, I would be very upset with the battle generator. So basically, they lost their entire fleet. They had 3 destroyers that got away. LT that just land targets, so that's not relevant. We have light damage to a transport, not sure if that's actually real. Convoy light damage. It took a 2-inch hit. Oh. Okay. So clearly a destroyer was close to it at some point. Deered. Can we see that destroyer somewhere? Division. Dard. Dard. Okay. Secondary battery. It was tangling with my destroyers at one point. And its secondary battery scored a hit on a merchant. Not sure. Those could be my. That's not my own. That was the 2 supporting destroyers. They actually did the work. Secondary battery hit splinters. Main gun crews cut down. Turret 8 back in action. It didn't sink, but it tangled with my AI destroyers. That's pretty cool. They had their own little battle going. Let's view the map. That's destroyer division, yeah. They at some point they had some destroyers in the vicinity of my transports. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I don't know. Exit. But it's a solid German victory. Battle of Jutland, sure. Can be the Battle of Jutland. Additional war loans. The naval budget increases. Now we are blockading them. They are sinking some merchant ships in Northern Europe. Okay, that's fine. Tension with Italy increases due to random. Yeah, this is a problem with controlling Norway. Tension with Great Britain increases as they are uncomfortable with us controlling Norway. That's because they are greedy sons of someone. That's a good budget increase. Let's look at the almanac. The French are still ahead, but the French don't have a navy anymore. So that's fine. Now they're down several. Did I say? They are down several battleships. So yeah, there is a gap, but you can see the tonnage gap is less than the number gap. And they have no light cruisers anymore, and their heavy cruisers also decimated. They only have half the number of destroyers we have. Granted, some of those are pretty bad, but on the other hand, the French also have some bad destroyers. The US is catching up. Its economy is growing rapidly, and its fleet is growing rapidly. and the British are, as usual, way ahead in both money and, last but not least, fleet. But do they have any good ships? These are all sort of French-style battleships, only good for sinking. Have they built any good battleships? No. So they are building some 15,000-ton battleships. Yeah. They don't have very many battleships building. They have some cruisers. Okay, they have a couple of big cruisers. 500-ton. Their most modern battleship is 15,000 ton, so comparable to mine. Speed is comparable. Guns 412, same as mine, but I have 8-inch secondaries. They have 6. So I'm still better than they are. I'm not entirely sure how well armored they are. 9.5 belt. And do they have crop? Probably. Yeah, they have crop. So, and these were, but were they laid down after crop or before crop? But anyway, my battleships are better than the British battleships. So that's really all we need to know. Cruisers, and I have 2 cruisers building to 14, so I will end up at 16. That's 4 ship formations, but we have the reserve squadron, so we have 3 full battle squadrons of cruisers and 1 reserve squadron. And here we will have 13. That's an odd number. It's 5 in one. Yeah, I can have 5 in my main force and 4 in the other 2. I have a lot of light cruisers, but to be honest, not all of them are very good. Once these are done, I will have refilled the Harrier squadron, so I will have 8 plus 2, so I could probably use a couple of additional light cruisers to bring that light cruiser up to the 3 full battle-worthy squadrons. Absolutely nothing has happened here. So I'm thinking maybe I should order 2 more light cruisers. That will put me into the negative again. But this one is almost done. Then I will 3 battle-worthy squadrons of cruisers, 3 battle-worthy squadrons of light cruisers, and I have the Frauenlobs in reserve, and the super light colonial cruisers I can use for colonial work. I have these for trade protection, but they are in the Baltic of some reason. Nothing's happening in the Baltic. Can I move them and have them on trade protection? This one is in the med. Okay, it probably was slightly damaged, so it had to hang around and couldn't come back with us. Let's save, and I need to check something, so pause. Yeah, we're actually approaching the 1 hour mark, so I think this is fine for a late war kind of episode. We are competitive-ish in dock size, but we probably should start another build run soon. So we have the tonnage when we plan our next battleship. Relations have not materially changed. Russia really hates France, but maybe they are reluctant to enter a war because they recently were in a war with me. Austria-Hungary is beneath the sort of the level from. Never seen Spain actually declare war on anyone, so I don't think that will happen. And Japan is on the other side of the world, so but they should have joined. Maybe they could have grabbed some colonies there. I will push the turn button and we will see what happens. Or yeah, and then we get one of those cruiser battles, and we can generate the battle. And now we have arrived at the point, I think, where the French do not have sufficient cruiser forces to really engage in cruiser battles. Let's see if they accept this one. No. Enemy coastal raid. Yeah, they could. Due to an intelligence coup, we can ambush an enemy force. I think that actually forces them to fight the battle. I don't think they can decline. See if that is true. It seems true. Expected enemy forces in battle, 2 destroyers. That seems unlikely. Just throw in a Donner 2 class here. Dresden. So 7 heavy cruisers, 10, 11 light, 4 more heavy cruisers from the reserve. It's a pretty potent force, except no battleships. So this is where we will start the next time to counter an enemy raid that is estimated to consist of 2 destroyers. I hope they send some additional ships, or it will be a very short or boring battle. But I call your attention to this text. I think they have maybe updated the text of some of the objectives in this new beta patch. I didn't see it noted in the patch notes, but protect your coastal shipping and prevent bombardment and mine laying while inflicted damage on enemy ships. That would be very useful, because I remember starting Ruler Waves 2 and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Where should I go? Okay, I'll check that out. But for the time being, let's exit.